We're starting now with the map. Maps are always so glorious, yes. Geography. Um, so you look at the Iranian plateau, okay, and I mean you'll see how Afghanistan and the Hindu Kush Mountains are here, and India, not also far away. Look at Mesopotamia is going to reach into this area. Right here, Nineveh, this is northern Iraq. At some point, the Persian empires will extend out here as well. So you're seeing the Arabian Desert in the Middle East here, Armenia, and up here, right, you have all of these various nations. So then the question is Iran the Middle East? Because this part is considered the Middle East, like Syria and Iraq, which is ancient Mesopotamian area, you can see how this border area would qualify. But then does this over here? By the way, look, Afghanistan's not the Middle East either, is it? So anyways, just something to think about in terms of geography and placing it in your mind here. And seeing the Persian Gulf, by the way, is often sometimes called the Arab Gulf. I guess these names are all political, right? Is this the Arabian Sea, the Persian Sea, the Arab Sea, the Indian? Anyways, okay, we're moving on. Archaeological evidence suggests people domesticated sheep and goats and cultivated wheat and barley in the Zagros foothills at least 10,000 years ago. So people have been living in the area for a long time. Many groups fought for control of the region, such as the Elamites. The first migrants were influenced by Sumerian culture. Here we go, something that we've covered before from Mesopotamia, right? Sumerian culture. About 1000 BCE, an Indo-European tribe from Central Asia migrated down the shore of the Caspian Sea. And these same branch of Aryans who had earlier moved into India are related, and henceforth Iran means land of Aryans. We kind of talked about that, I think, in one of my earlier sections. But this map is actually really interesting as well, too, right? Because this shows, here's Europe, here's the Hittites, India, Iran, all Indo-European peoples. And in fact, the Persian language is related. This is kind of a late discovery. It's very interesting that the European world realized that Latin and Sanskrit had some eerie similarities, and they didn't realize why. You look at just in Persian, for example, brother is barodar. Forgive me, any of my Persian students that might criticize my accent just a little bit. Dokhtar for daughter, marodar, madar. Yeah, sorry, mother. Mother's close to it. I think I said it wrong. Very similar to English, right? These are not actually derivatives of influence like loan words. They're part of the language. And to say, I mean, if you look at the many similarities there, you'll be shocked because you don't think of there being relations between Iranians and Europeans. Well, this is distant time, right? This is a long time ago, but there's a relation there nonetheless, linguistically and ethnically. Now, one of the myths that has occurred and should always be addressed, that one of the scholars talked about in on the section on India, is that it's mythic to think of a Indo-European tribe. It's better to say people, same as Germanic peoples. You don't have like this one thing that's unified perfectly that you can then define. But this is a grouping of people who have a shared heritage. Okay, so hopefully I didn't make that more complicated than it needed to be. All right. So, two principal Aryan subgroups. There was the Medes and the Persians. Those of you who studied the Bible would be familiar with the discussion of the Persians and the Medes being talked about together in some of the texts. The Medes had residence in the Zagros Mountains. Kurds today, you might have heard about them in Iraq. They're in Turkey and in parts of Syria. But Kurds claim that they are descendants of the Medes. Okay, the Persians, their residence was in the central Iranian plateau of Farsia, hence the term Persian. The language today is also called Farsi. Okay, if you want to talk about it as precisely. And so that we have here. So Medes and the Zagros Mountains. They often invaded from groups inside the Assyrian Empire, but protected by the mountains. Mountains are always a protection for people, but it also makes it difficult for anybody to rule. It's a double-edged sword. It's like such as Afghanistan's a great example. Mined minerals such as gold, silver, and precious gems. Use of mountain snow to help irrigate. Assyrians eventually dominated Medes and Persians, but never completely. Okay. So the first Median king, Medes and Persians assert themselves when Babylon and Assyria erupted in a civil war. Okay. And we see an outmaneuvering of taking place by the 7th century. There's the shattering of the Assyrian Empire, and Zagros, he ends up maneuvering himself in a position where he can rule northern Mesopotamia while Chaldeans ruled in the south. The official Kurdish anthem, I just thought I would put on the side, Raqib, mentions him as being an ancestor of the Kurdish people. The line, we are the descendants of the Medes and King Zagros. I think I'm saying his name wrong, just to let you know. I've studied some of these languages well, but I don't have a really good handle on this one in Kurdish. Our religion is our nation. So it's interesting, right? This history is obscure to probably most people, but obviously for those who have lived there, there is an ancient past and history that they can resurrect in the form of modern nationalism. And so here's a tomb here in Iraqi Kurdistan. I'm wondering how it's handling up with the current war and with the ISIS/ISIL taking over in certain parts. They've been destroying some of these artifacts. Hopefully this still is surviving. I'm not aware, though, its position at the moment. Okay, the Achaemenids. This is a very important Persian kingdom, 6th century to 4th century BCE. The Achaemenid, the Median kingdom only lasted a few decades. The Persian ruling family, the Achaemenids, married into the ruling house of Media. Cyrus, a child of that union, unified Persian tribes and dominated the Medes. In 550 BCE, he united the Medes and Persians into one house of the Achaemenid dynasty. Cyrus the Great then is one of those characters, like Alexander the Great, like Caesar. These are those kind of must-know characters in world history. He's from the 7th and 6th centuries BC. He extends Persian Empire out, controls over many lands, invades southern Mesopotamia, and he enters Babylon without a fight and is welcome as a liberator. You're going to see Alexander the Great does the same thing going into Egypt, where he just walks in without a fight and takes over. And he actually is going to be removing Persians. And Egyptians are going to be seeing Alexander the Great as a type of liberator. So it's interesting how that happens sometimes in history. But I'll end right here, and then we'll move on. Next section.